Welcome to another great video. We're talking the wealth happiness paradox.
We are.
How much money do you need to be happy? How does it change things? This is very key to happy retirement. We're going to recap a little bit of research we've talked about before, starting with Killingsworth and Kahneman. Kahneman did research well back in the 70s. I believe it was in the 70s.
Yes, it was.
About how wealth kind of peaks or happiness peaks as wealth goes up. Killingsworth then had research that shows it could go beyond that. And then in 2023, they paired up to see, well, how does this all work? And they actually came to some rather surprising conclusions.
Yeah. So what we started to look at was that the least happy group of people that are out there, happiness rises with income till about 100 grand. And then it doesn't do anything. So 200 grand, 300 grand for it. It's not changing what their opinion is or how they change anything along that line. Now, then there's the mid-range people where, emotional well-being, if happiness rises, then, if the income's going up, they're going up with it. And the happiest group out there, the association is basically that if you get over 100 grand, you're accelerating their happiness. So if you go to 200, 300, 400, they are going to be the happiest people in the world. So you get the three types of people. And that seems to be the way things go when you increase your money beyond that $100,000.
They found that your initial emotional well-being has a big impact.
It does.
Whether or not more money brings you more happiness. So they separated people into groups based on emotional well-being. The unhappiest group, the grumps, well, after 100 grand, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Person is still a grumpy person. The mid-range emotional well-being, most people, more money does bring them more happiness. And then that happiest group, they got even happier if you gave them more money. Or to summarize this is from a book by Nick Majuli, who went through the data. And in his book, he summarized all this in this type of caption. If you're poor, more money, probably going to make you happier. To that point. If you are already happy, more money is probably going to make you happier. But if you aren't poor, you aren't happy, more money won't do a thing.
So if you're grumpy, you just stay grumpy. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. And then we're going to expand on this concept and kind of work it all into retirement. Expanding on, there's additional book here by Cilla Bloom, who argued 5 types of wealth. Now, the financial wealth, that gets all the focus. How much money do you have? What can you afford to buy and not buy? But it certainly goes beyond that. There's 4 additional types of wealth according to Bloom.
Yeah, and some of the ones that you should be looking at is what's your social wealth? I mean, it's not just your financial. What are your relationships? Who are you dealing with? Do you have friends? Do you have family? Are you going to be spending time with them? There is a value to that without a doubt. There's the time wealth management, which is the freedom that you get to spend your time as you choose without constraints. So when you hit retirement, are you going to be able to do what you want to do, or do you have to work part-time? Or are you going to do a variety of other things? How is that? That's got a wealth impact as well. Physical wealth, of course, that's a huge one to deal with. Are you physically capable of doing things? Last thing you want to be doing. I mean, you're 60 and you can't go anywhere or anything like that. If you're healthy, well, there's more things you can do. So your health is going to, or should I say your physical wealth is going to have that sort of scenario. And then finally, the last one, of course, is that health aspect.
Physical wealth and then also mental.
That's right.
So it's kind of physical health, mental health, the last 2 there. We'll dive into kind of linking that with a bit more data in terms of retirement. First, if people have questions, how do they get answers?
You go to chatwithclintonandkevin.com. By all means, we'll answer your questions on your income and emotional well-being or anything else that you got at that time.
Perfect. And then according to the Wealth Ladder, so this is Nick Majuli's book, we quoted him a little earlier. He actually went through some research in his book, and the research is by neuroscientist Dr. Matthew Lieberman. And they looked at all those emotional well-being items. We just covered 5 of them. And then tried to link them, quantify them. And he came to some surprising results. For example, seeing a friend most days. What is that worth? If you had to do a financial equivalent to that, what it is worth about $100,000 a year.
That's pretty good.
You're able to see a friend most days. So that's social well-being. Being married, Kevin, despite all the complaints, it's actually worth $100,000 a year as well. They're
having a partner.
Idea there. Then still building on the social wealth, the idea of community, talking to your neighbor on a regular basis, assuming your neighbor is a friendly person, but $60,000 a year of income. So they're finding these other pieces outside the financial wealth and then trying to equate them and give you some sort of quantitative measure so you can kind of see how much they're worth. But that wasn't the biggest takeaway from the survey.
Yeah, no, according to the same sources that are dealing with it, being in good physical health, that was worth roughly $400,000 a year. So it is the biggest component. And as we've always said, if you don't have your health, you can't take it with you sort of scenario. So the healthier you are, the more it's going to mean to you when you're retired, or the more it's going to mean to you for being able to spend this and socialize with your friends and everything else. So yeah, health and our finances have an important part, but sort of these other ones that we've been talking about. So as the study concludes, health was by far the most valuable non-monetary asset that you can have going forward.
Yeah, that's what the researchers examined. We do have a newsletter as well with lots of financial planning tips. So a quick note, if you want to be part of that newsletter community, there is a link in the description. The reason we're talking about wealth and happiness is because when people talk retirement, they talk financial planning, usually it's all about financial wealth. It's about money. How much do I need saved to retire? How do I afford? What can I afford? How long is it going to last? How do I save tax? It's all about the dollar figures. But to enjoy retirement has to go well beyond the financial piece. A happy retirement goes into how are you going to spend your time?
That's right.
In retirement, who are you going to spend it with? What activities will you do? It's all those other pieces we just talked about that really bring an enjoyment to retirement and a happiness to retirement. That's kind of the key takeaway here. And how do you do all that, Kevin?
You use the Becker Orr mantra, you have a plan. That's why we always recommend having a plan, because we're going to go through those things. What do you want to do in retirement? What do you have or set aside to do? Are you going to volunteer? Are you going to work? Are you going to be with family and friends? Have a plan. That's the big one. If you do that, all of this is covered, as well as the financial side of it.
Absolutely. Like this video, certainly like the one on the screen right there. Click on that one. We'll see you again very soon.
Take care.